What is up, everyone? I'm Steve, and these are the Memoirs of an Indonesian American, a show that takes some friends, family, colleagues of mine, and shares their experience, their tips, and tools they've needed to become who they are today. In this episode, I'll be asking one of my closest and best friends, Averil, on how he is the most supportive person I've ever met, and a great team player in life, you could say. To shine a little background on Averil, he is always willing to help people. He's quite humble when it comes to serving others and being a genuine, have your back kind of guy. He's perhaps the best Indonesian basketball player under 6 foot in Southwest Michigan, and definitely one of the greatest passers I've ever shared the floor with. It's been a pleasure to know him and would honestly say I admire him for everything he's about. He's your support person, your hype man, your wingman, and your best friend. Let's have a listen. All right, everyone. I'm here with Averil, who is one of the best team players that I know, and he's super supportive. And he's going to be talking about that today. But before that, we're going to ask him, Averil, what is something you're passionate about?
Great question, Steve. Let's see. Lately, it's really been trying to break these generational curses or giants, not just in our generation as millennials, but in my personal family. So, for example, we're generally a quiet family, and that's kind of where I get my introvert personality, and trying to break that.
Okay, cool. And that's different than tradition, right? Or do some of those some of them hand in hand?
Yeah, they're kind of hand in hand for sure. There's some traditions that I would love to carry on because I feel as though they align with my life and haven't really been so toxic. But then there are some that maybe they could be bent a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, as we get older, right, you're starting to realize maybe some things that your family has done for you that you may not have really fully appreciated. And now you kind of take it for granted.
Right.
But you know the balance between those things as you get older and wiser.
Yes, especially, you hit it right on the nail there. As I'm getting older with experience, I'm learning to understand more. Like I said, my dad was a very quiet guy. He didn't really explain too much when we were younger. But as I'm getting older, I'm like, oh, okay, that's I have to give him that grace and give him that that leniency, I guess, and just be like, okay, he couldn't communicate that well to me back then, but I understand now. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. For those of the younger listeners out there, sometimes we kind of feel rebellious,
yes,
and we don't know why our parents do the things they do.
Sure.
But you're really open to change now, what I'm hearing, yes. And you're giving benefit of the doubt, but you want to improve, and that's awesome.
Yes, which I actually learned from my wife. She I vent to her a lot about a lot of things, and
amen, man.
She provides me different perspective. And
True that. Shout out Val. Shout out Val.
Shout out wives.
Shout out wives.
All the wives out
True
there.
That. Shout out. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're here again with Averil, and we just listened to how much he's passionate about, overcoming maybe generational differences, maybe habits that could and need to be broken so that we can move forward and ultimately become better people for sure.
Right.
But the real reason we asked Averil also to come in today on this pod was to ask him how to be such a great team player. Averil, what do you got for us today?
This is a funny question to me because, I really having brothers and being a middle child, really, being a middle child kind of puts you in a weird spot. You're not in that position to really be a leader, and then also you're just in the, you're in a weird spot. I'm still trying to figure it out more and more, as I get older. But I learned to just kind of, roll with the punches. But anyway, the example really was playing video games with my brothers. We would take turns literally with, okay, we come to a boss. We can't beat this guy. Okay, I'll try. I can't beat him. Andrew, he tries. He can't beat him. Averil, he'll try. He can't beat him. Alvin, he'll try a couple times. Oh, he beat him. Alvin could beat the boss. Okay, wow. Okay, the next level, next boss. I'm trying. I can't beat him. Alvin tries. Alvin can't beat him. Andrew tries. No. And then Averil, he beats the boss. And it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
And there'll be finally a boss that I could, beat, or finally Andrew could beat. And so that's kind of how I kind of learned, like, oh, okay, like, there's just these certain bosses that we just can't beat on our own, and I noticed that my brothers can. And then with basketball, same way. I'm not known to be a prolific shooter. I know Steve can. Steve could shoot the shot. All I have to do is give him the pass and, trust that he could hit that shot. And so that's kind of where my team player aspect comes along, and just really realizing my own capabilities, and then having that humility to recognize other people's.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Like, they throw different challenges your way,
right.
but that there are other people that can tackle that, and it can still be a group effort.
Right. Yeah. And like with playing basketball or any team sport, really, like, the ultimate goal is to win, like not to just, I'm going to just try to take over this team and have this, hero mentality. But, usually when you have that mentality, you don't always win. And with team sports, you win as a team.
Awesome. And you kind of brought something up that I didn't mention to you before the pod, which was your middle child.
Yeah.
And you're kind of born into a team.
Right.
But
yeah.
How do you feel like you still had your own originality, your own flavor, your own talent that you brought to the family?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Definitely. And it was just, I guess from my perspective, I felt unnoticed. That whatever my output was, I felt it was unnoticed. I'm sure my parents noticed, but then I didn't feel as though, and so that, I guess, that's kind of what humbled me there. And as I got older, and I was just okay with just doing things without that, recognition. I was okay with doing things behind the scenes. I was okay with just being behind the scenes. So I naturally kind of understood my role in a way.
You know what's also really cool that you probably didn't realize, and this outside looking in, is the sum of all the parts don't look as good, even though they seem to be perfect. Like the four of you guys are like, you think of yourselves as a group, as a pack, as a set,
Sure.
that together you're special. But you didn't realize that growing up, each of you guys had your own lives and parts to play that were all super unique and individual.
Sure. Yeah.
And you guys were all stellar on your own. You probably just didn't realize it because once you got home,
I really didn't, yeah.
Everyone's all,
Yep, that's true.
And you guys all feel like you're the same person, you're from the same tree, and it doesn't feel different. But there is a uniqueness that you do have But you just don't realize it sometimes.
Yeah, and so it's funny you say that because that's kind of what I'm noticing now. And actually, even with Alvin too, we were all so together when we were younger. As we got older, we kind of strayed apart and just kind of weren't that close to each other as we were before. But now I feel like we're reaching a stage now where we're recognizing our talents and our strengths and our weaknesses, especially our weaknesses. And not just with my brothers, but even with my dad and my mom. We're really getting to know each other during these times.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you guys are living totally separate lives, doing totally separate things. Right. But at the end of the day, you understand and know that family matters. It's like...
Yes, it really, really does. And that's, at the end of the day, really who you have, on your side.
Yeah, they'll always be there for you. Cool. That's a very humble answer. That's a very humble answer, I would say.
Thank you.
And I don't know, when I'm playing with you, I do feel like you're an anchor, and I don't know if you feel like you're an anchor. And that's something that a team player also needs to... Do you think that's something that you can realize as a team player, that you are kind of a focal point or a star or someone who has that gift that can carry?
Well, I'll say, I don't know. Even when I there are times where I'm like, okay, I feel like I do have to step up here, and even when that's the case, I feel like, okay, if I can't step up as much as I can, let me just be a decoy and just, again, I just have to keep in mind it's still a team sport. Okay, maybe this person, can't do as much as I need them to, but they could do something. They're obviously on my team for a reason, and a little bit is still something. So
that's true. Wow, you have a lot of faith in people, don't you?
Faith, yes, that's
awesome.
That's big in my life, I'd say.
That's good. And I know it's kind of it's a give and take too. You know, that people will recognize that as well.
Right.
Hey, you're giving me the opportunity.
Right.
There are going to be times where it's going to be like, Averil, you were the hero for that, and I appreciate it. So now it's your turn. Right. You gotta reward that.
Yeah.
But cool. We're not looking out for handouts, but but playing the role, that's a big deal. That's something that I firmly believe in also. Because that does play a part also into who you are and what you do in this life and in the world.
Yes.
And that could really give you a good mentality and a good heart just to know that you have some value and worth.
Right.
And you are something, and you don't go out and you're not worth nothing.
Yes.
You have something to do. You have something to offer.
Right.
Nice. Well, thank you. Hopefully our listeners out there learned a little bit about being a team player today.
Hope so.
All right. Thanks, Dave. We'll come back to you in the next segment. All right, so we just heard about how to be a great team player and how that applies to your life. But as we wrap up in this segment, we just wanted to ask Averil, what is the most important tool in your life, and what your favorite quote or Bible verse is and why?
Well, as far as my tool, most important to me would have to be my watch. I love to have a wristwatch on me. It's very simple. I just like to know, what time of day it is, or what time it is exactly, really, and I like a watch that has the date on it. It has to have the date. I could be forgetful, and whether it's like I can't do an Apple Watch though. I can't do an Apple Watch just because to me, no judgment on people who do. My wife has one. That's all right. To me, it's just another screen, and I just don't want another screen. I have, I just need a good timepiece on my wrist, and yeah.
And for those out there also, Averil is a fashion icon.
Oh, no.
And
Oh,
it is a way,
no.
subtle way,
No.
to tackle both of those things.
Thank you for that compliment, but it's just more so of look good, feel good type things.
For sure. I believe that. All right, so what you got for us for your favorite quote?
My favorite
Bible verse.
quote or Bible verse? I have two, though.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Bible verse. They kind of
Give
go
them to
hand
us.
in hand. My favorite quote goes like this, and I don't know who it's by. Sorry, I don't know who it's by, but it goes, sorrow looks back, worry looks around, faith looks up. That's my favorite quote, just because it kind of applies, if you really think about it. Usually, yeah, I don't know, do you want me to elaborate on that?
Yeah, do you want to go for it, man?
Okay, I'm going to elaborate. Sorrow looks back. You often, when we're feeling sad, we're looking into the past. You're not, very rarely are you thinking of the future and just being sad of the future, I feel like, in my opinion. And so usually, again, it comes with sorrow, death and whatnot. You're looking in the past. You're having this great sorrow. Worry, again, when I'm worried, I'm looking around. Oh, is someone going to hit me or, whatever. You're kind of looking around, when you're worried. And then ultimately, what really matters is faith, and you just got to look up for that. And yeah, that's where I really got to have faith. And the definition of faith, according to the Bible, would bring me to my favorite Bible verse, which is Hebrews 11:1. I'll read it here. Let's see, Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen." That's from the English Standard Version, which I think you gave us, the Mizda Youth.
Oh, wow, from the Mizda Youth. No way.
2012. Anyways, and that Hebrews 11, that whole chapter actually just kind of goes in depth of almost every main character in the Bible on how they used faith to get through their biggest trials, and it applies to my life really, just because I for a long time struggled with my faith, on how let me go back on having faith in something you cannot see. It's just it's hard,
For sure.
The verse 3 goes, by faith we understand that the universe was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible. You can't see words, right? Unless it's written down. But when I'm talking to you, you can't. You see me talking to you, but you can't see visibly the words. But when God created this world, he just said something, and then it made it visible.
It happened.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy. It's crazy.
It's just mind blowing to me, and
super.
I have to think about that to help me have faith, because there was a point in my life where I lost that faith, and I or struggled with it rather, and just even if I'm being transparent here, till now I kind of wrestle with it, like, oh man, like, is this worth it type thing? Is it, and if I'm being honest as well, on the flip side, that's just kind of my pessimistic mind, but then my optimistic mind is telling me, duh, it's worth it. Like, look at this, and I kind of just, provide myself a mind-blowing, thing when I think of what God has done for me, and kind of just count my blessings.
For sure. Lots of things to be grateful for.
Definitely.
Awesome. Hope you all enjoyed. All the listeners enjoyed this episode on how to be a team player from Averil. And we hope to catch you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Break us apart.